Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is episode 17 of the SANE Show. I got the homie Ron with me. I forgot. The show about nothing and everything. Got the homie Ron with me. Big brother, we go way back. What's going on, bro?
What's going on, bro? We do go way back, man. I've known you, Jesus, since you were knee high to a tree high.
Yeah, bro.
It's crazy that we discussed this one day at church. You had this idea of trying to do a podcast, and now here we are doing a podcast. So
yeah, and then
I appreciate you having me on, bro.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely.
It was great just having the conversation we had. I think it was a few weeks ago when we stayed at the church, I think, and we were just having this conversation about some of the stuff we're going to be talking about on here today. So let's go ahead and get to the topics. We're going to be talking about millennials and Ron's thing about being a zennial.
Yeah, I refuse to be considered a millennial. I can't.
And then
I can't y'all that much. We're talking about HBCUs. We're talking about working hard. We're talking about the black vote.
The black vote and being black enough, but don't give away the trending topic. We always
we do.
We always hold that until the middle of the discussion.
Gotcha.
So let's go ahead and hop right into it, because this is a discussion that you and I /debate that you and I were having as far as being, the whole thing about millennials and zennials. And you were talking about you're not a zennial, and you're talking about...
No, I am a zennial. No, I'm not a millennial.
You're not a millennial, but you're a zennial.
Well, the thing with millennials is, millennials have this stigma that I don't know if it's fair to y'all or not. It probably isn't fair to y'all, if we're going to be honest. But I'm not quite... Like, Generation X is, I guess, late 70s, early 80s. Mm-hmm. And so being mid-80s, I get a little bit of what they have compared to your average millennial who doesn't remember... For example, rotary phones, right? Mm-hmm. Or having to change the TV by hand, or typewriters, or things like that, or word processors. Like millennials, a lot of millennials have always had a computer in the house, so they've always had internet. Have from the time they can really remember, have had a cell phone, or can't remember having to go to the bank before 5 to get your check cash on Friday you short. So it's just a different mindset when it comes to a lot of things you deal with millennials, because they've had everything instant gratification, and then you get into the world and it's like, hey, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do with this. Like, I'm no longer in this place where everything's instant gratification and handed to me. And so that's why I don't really identify, because a lot of times the experiences of what millennials grew up with are just a tad bit off from the world I grew up in. Does that make sense? I
understand that. Now, granted, I didn't have all of that stuff. I like to say, like, I remember learning how to use a typewriter.
Right.
But at that point, or during that time, the typewriter was phasing out.
I mean, even when I was in high school, we didn't write papers anymore. Everything was typed,
Right.
By the time I got to college in 2004, everything was typed. You had to go. But difference is, when my brother went to school, for example, in 2008, 2009, they didn't really have computer labs anymore. Mm-hmm. Like when I was a freshman at Elizabeth City, the computer lab was where it was. Like the computer lab was almost a club on a Tuesday or Wednesday night. So it was just it's a different mindset. And then going into the workforce, we were taught that you're gonna have to work your way up. Maybe not the same company, but you gotta grind and work your way up.
Yeah.
And now, even when I was managing, before I left management and went to the job I'm at now in sales, a lot of millennials think they're going to come into the workforce and have this job that pays them $50,000, $60,000 and not work weekends, and I'm not going to work 2 jobs, and we should get $15 an hour working at McDonald's. Why? Why would I pay you $15 an hour to work at McDonald's? Mm-hmm. The thing is, I could pay a computer to do your job anyway and not pay you anything. Mm-hmm. So we get to this place where it's like they have a hard. I've learned from a lot of millennials, they have a hard time adjusting to what the workforce and the real world looks like at times. You feel me?
Yeah.
And so that's why a lot of times I can't identify with millennials, because I don't have the same, I guess, expectations for life. Like, I'm all for creating your own lane, and I believe you need to have multiple streams of income and have your own job and all that great stuff. But the question is, how do you get there? And I think a lot of times my generation's views on how to get there are a little bit different than the younger generations. I think a lot of times the dream is sold differently now, and so the expectation is differently. And then millennials get out into the real world, and it ain't that, right?
Yeah.
It ain't this $50,000, $60,000 job. Your starting job is $35,000, and the apartment you thought you were gonna have, that ain't it. You know what I'm saying? So how do you deal with that?
So it's interesting because I like to look at it as, when you're in between generations, you kind of get a sense of what the older generation was about a little bit. You know what I mean? And it's you say some of these things, and I look at Generation Z. Mm-hmm. I had some young.
They
kids.
really out their mind.
And it's so funny. Like I do feel like to an extent I can relate to them because some of the things that they had, at least me, like some of the things they experienced growing up, I was like, okay, I remember doing some of that too. So maybe I'm not far off.
That's why I can't quite be a millennial because I have nothing in common with Generation Z. Their music is ridiculous. Yeah. Their clothing, I don't understand it. I don't understand their clothing. I don't understand what they be talking about half the time.
Yeah.
And they really have been pampered and handed everything. And to your point, it is that because I have a lot in common with Generation Xers. Like I can relate to a person who was born in
like my mom's generation.
Yeah.
Well, okay,
like Orlando's generation, and Sherry, right? They're like late 40s, early 50s to your late 30ish. I can relate to a lot of them because a lot of the same things we experienced, right? Mm-hmm. Their high school days and my high school days weren't that much different. Mm-hmm. Our college days were a little bit less similar, but compared to a kid that's in college now, like it's a whole new world what they experience in the school. And I'm just like, I don't understand any of what you're talking about.
It's so funny too because I just remember like when I started at Elizabeth City, shout out to ECSU, he's an alum. So, but I just remember when I started there, I remember there was something about I think they were going around like seeing, I guess, who needed a phone in their room, and I'm looking at that like,
who needs a phone in their room?
Right. I got the celly. It's on my hip all the time.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about.
I still use my dorm phone freshman year. Like I had a cell phone, but you got to think back in 2004. It cost like I want to say like 5.01 cent or something, 0.05 cent per every text you sent. Mm-hmm. So if you sent a full message, that costs money, right? You couldn't talk on your phone till after 9 and it became 7. So like, you got a shorty trying to call you. It's 3 o'clock and she trying to call you to come through. You got to call the room phone. Yeah. Like we still use the room phone religiously when I was in school. So it's a little bit different when you get to the age of everybody had a cell phone. You had a cell phone in high school probably.
Yeah.
I got a 10-year-old niece and she got 2 phones. I asked her mama why. Well, just in case she lose one and she out. You don't think it's a problem that your 10-year-old got 2? You know what? Okay, you just
2 phones.
2 phones.
What, you the plug?
She is the plug, obviously. When you think about that, and then you start talking about going into working hard.
Yeah.
It's not that millennials don't work hard. Like I hate that, and old folks probably say because old folks lump anybody under 50, I think, in the same boat. We all just hip the hip hop generation. I don't even know what the hip hop generation means. Like hip hop started in '81, so it's a broad spectrum.
Yeah.
But old people, we all the same, as we know from a lot of the people we go to church with, right? It's not that I think America in general now believes that we should have these things handed to us. Like, I don't get, bet you come out of school, you working, you making $35K, you making $40K, and it ain't going the way you thought. Well, why don't you get a second job, right?
Yeah.
Well, if I got a second job, now I can't try to pursue my dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you. But your dreams ain't paying your bills right now. Like, I don't know where the thought process of work to where you want to get to you gotta do what you gotta do so you can do what you want to do. When did we change that? You feel me?
Right.
And like that, back to the McDonald's thing with the $15 an hour, we had that, or we want to raise minimum wage. Like that's cool.
Well, we did that here in the county.
We did. We're not thinking realistically. We live in a capitalist society, so dog, all they gonna do is, all right, if I gotta pay $15 an hour to 5 cashiers, I'm gonna figure out how to employ just 2. I'm not going to end up paying this much more money because that affects my bottom line. And companies are greedy. You're in sales, right? Don't quota go up every year?
Yeah.
Does it matter what you did last month?
No.
Do you think the bottom line is what matters? So if y'all think I'm going to cut my money because y'all want 15, nah, that ain't it.
But here's how I look at it too, because it's like, okay, I'm all for across the board $15 an hour minimum wage, but we shouldn't be encouraging people to make a career out of those kinds of jobs. Now, honestly, in my eyes, I look at those kind of jobs as a stepping stone to introduce you into, I guess, the workforce. You know what I mean? Like that's something that's not too.
That's exactly what it's supposed to be. But, so how do we get to a place where now we think we should make $15 an hour at this part-time job? Like you're right, you cannot pay your bills off of McDonald's or bagging groceries. Do you know why? Because ain't supposed to be what you're doing for a living, right? Yeah. So to the point of working hard, even if you there, so let's say you fall on hard times, you got to take a job as a cashier. So your next move should be trying to get to shift leader, right?
Right.
And I'm gonna go from shift leader to being assistant manager. I'm gonna go from assistant manager to being a store manager. And I'm trying to do all this within a year and a half, 2 years. You got to work your way up the chain again.
Yeah.
But nah, what we do is we comfortable flipping burgers or bad. Like when I was working at Food Lion, I mean, this is 7 years ago now, 8 years, something like that. But I had cats who this was their full-time job. Like they grown, but they was cool being an office assistant making $9, $10 an hour. And I'm like, dog, you've been doing this for 7 years in the same position. Like, don't you ever want to try to get promoted? But nah, I'm good where I'm at. So that's the mindset. We good where we at. I don't want to do no more. I'm not really trying to grind no more. I'm not trying to get a certification. I'm not trying to get a degree. And so I'm not trying to get a license to be a whatever. I'm not trying to get a trade. I'm just cooling, but I should make more money. Why?
Right.
Like, what part of the dream is that? And so that I think a lot of times, but to the other side of it, you do go to school, you got your degree, and you come out and it's paying 35, 40K. Man, this ain't what I signed up for. Why'd I go $50,000 in debt to make $40,000? I make less a year and I got in debt, right?
Right.
The thing is, you got to work your, like now that somebody's in his early 30s, and I've had, I don't know, my resume's got a lot of jobs on it. I'm not going to tell you any lies.
Yeah.
But I'm on job number, let's say 6. I'm not really going to sit here and count. But every job, God has blessed me that every job has been a progression to a new place where I'm making more money.
As it should be.
Right. So every job you take should really be you trying to build your resume, right? Every job is you building your resume and building your brand and networking to put yourself in a better position.
So I'm going to read this comment that Paul left. He was just saying, minimum wage leaves most people below the poverty line.
It does.
And you look at places where the cost of living is high, places like LA, New York City, that working 2 jobs isn't enough to live in, working 3 jobs, no health care, not glorious living, but it's livable, that. So taking and looking at that, I guess when you look at different parts of the country, it varies as far as
minimum wage won't let you live in Charlotte. No, you ain't got.
Not anymore.
You ain't got to go look at very
because it's now. One of the things I'm always telling people is the influx of people coming from places like New York and New Jersey is driving up the cost of living here, making it
to an extent.
Giving it.
I mean,
because not only the people, but companies are coming too. It's just
you can look at the economy's pendulum and look at the bell curve of how. Back in the 70s, until the 70s, the cost of living and wage went just like this together, right? Then cost of living did this and wages done this. So it's no longer equal. It hasn't been equal for years. To the gentleman's point that just spoke, I get it. Minimum wage ain't going to pay your bills. Like, I'm not sitting here to tell you minimum wage is.
Yeah.
So the question is, how do you fix that? Like, so our answer is we're going to make pay us more minimum wage. That's not realistic in a capitalistic society, right? Just think about it. If you ran a business, would you pay out more money to your employees? Because it's the right thing to do.
So then now, because we talk about the business itself, one of the things I'm looking at too is like, okay, the small man, the small business owner.
Now, how can he afford to even try to pay more?
That, yes. And then now you got the corporations, who, in my opinion, should be held to a different standard.
Right.
When it comes to this kind of stuff, because you got.
I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
You got a college degree, right?
Well, yeah.
You make roughly 50 to 60K, right? Minimum wage is $15 an hour. Do the math on that. What's it come out to?
I did it last night, actually. $31,200.
$31,200. So somebody didn't go to school, didn't get a degree.
$15 an hour, 40 hours a week, 52 weeks out the year.
By the way, $31,200. I'm not sure you can still live in LA or New York, but that's another story. But now this person's making $31,200. Dog, you barely make less than I do, right? You only make. But I went to school and I'm in debt. So now are we gonna raise everybody else's wage also? No.
Yeah.
That's the reason I don't ever see a minimum wage really raising to the place we want it to raise to. And if we do, they'll just automate our jobs, right?
Or
I'll give you an example.
Or this, I guess, the effect that it would have on the currency.
Not even that.
Well, as far as like, because putting out, paying people more money than having to try and put out more money into the economy and
all that would happen.
All that.
You look at your middle class in America and why it's shrinking. It's because we don't have factory jobs anymore. Our current president ran on the fact that he was going to bring the middle class back and bring back all these factory jobs. He's not. If you've ever took time to go into a factory or if you've had the ability to tour a factory in the last 5 years, everything's automated.
Well, here's the thing now. Here's what I argue. Go ahead.
It's automated, and so what happened is I can now have a machine do 9 jobs for and have one person work it.
I mean, you walk into McDonald's and they have a digital kiosk now. I don't even go to the register half the time.
Why do they have a digital kiosk?
It's easier, and you can just place your order, put up on a ticket on the screen.
Go deeper.
You don't have to pay somebody. Oh my, yes, okay, I get it.
Right.
This is what I say though, because this is what's happening. We're in the age of information and technology, right? IT, and what needs to happen, I think, here, especially when we talk about a first world country like America, we have to do better with job replacement.
Absolutely.
We lose jobs. We have to figure out, but I think here's the thing that makes it complicated. The jobs that we really need require some form of higher education.
Ding, 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 ding. So here comes to that gentleman's point to this whole argument.
Oh man,
life's about decisions.
We really opened a can of worms.
This is gonna sound tough. The real answer is not easy. Life's about decisions. So as you know, I was your youth leader. I've always tried to impact children and young adults. How do we get our young adults to the place where they're putting themselves in a position to not have to work a minimum wage job?
So we're gonna stop it. We're gonna pick it back up when we towards the end when we talk about the black vote, because I think this is, especially with the upcoming election, I think this is some of that stuff we're gonna touch on. So I got my brain going. So we're gonna go ahead and get to the trending topic, brought to you by What's Trending. Again, you can find them on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, pretty much anywhere social media, and they have their own website, of course. The trending topic, the one that everybody's talking about, of course, Jussie Smollett he's in Chicago PD custody, right?
Yeah, Jussie out here tripping, bro.
We just talked about this on.
Well, no, I think he got out
on another recording, and out on bond, which was set to like $100,000. And this man, I'm not gonna lie, it really irritates me because the motive behind there's no justification for it to begin with, but the motive is just it's stupid, it's greedy. I'm not making enough money, and I pull this stunt.
Here's the thing. I haven't really commented on Jussie a lot, so it's funny. I've intentionally not commented on this on social media because it's such a hot button issue, and yet I'm about to talk about it on the podcast. Look at that. But
should have gave you an alias.
It's cool. His whole story at the beginning was kind of sketch.
Yeah.
I went to Subway at 2:30 in the morning in the middle of a polar vortex. Bro, it was -20 outside. What you mean? Bro, you want to sub that bad? You want to go at -20 degrees? And brother, you rich. I know nobody could deliver. You ain't have to in the house. You could have waited till the morning.
Yeah.
You went to Subway at 2:30 in the morning. But you know what? We said we're gonna let this ride, and here's why we let this ride. One, because hate crimes in America are real, and as black men, I think we realize how often we are in a situation where this could have happened.
Yeah.
Secondly, if we're being honest, nobody wanted to come out and not support the homosexual black man and be looked upon as you're not supporting gays. So nobody else. We were just like, cool, this probably happened, even though it sounds a tad bit weird. I'm not gonna be the guy to say, dog, this don't even sound quite right. I'm just gonna let it ride.
Yeah.
And then it started falling apart.
Yeah.
Then a week passed and they were like, well, we haven't found anybody. What you mean?
Right.
2 weeks passed. Also, by the way, take a step back. Also, 2 white guys walk around downtown Chicago with nooses and MAGA hats in the middle of a polar vortex.
Yeah.
And bleach. Yeah. And nobody saw them. Brother, Chicago.
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody saw them. That would have looked kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
Because the bleach is kind of big. Whatever. So, you get to this point where it's like, bruh, you did what? So now, all the naysayers come out of the woodworks. Oh, I knew this was wrong. If you knew it, you would have said it. You didn't know it was wrong.
Yeah.
So all the naysayers come out the woodworks. But we also had this place where we're like, what about people actually supporting him and rode for him, man?
So here's my
you got people looking real stupid.
Here's my issue. I did come out and support him.
Oof.
And to Paul's point, he hurt a lot. He hurt positive movements. No,
absolutely he did.
He hurt and this is my issue too.
Absolutely.
In our at least speaking for the black community, when we try to take strides forward and then we have these kinds of things that set us back on top of the things that people are, because again, it's like the opposition wants, it's like they have something to in there.
It's what you call. I'll take it to another spectrum and come back to this. Whenever they want to label us as thugs, or they want to use us in a negative light, they'll use that one example, right? Or they won't say we're bad fathers. They'll use the one example of a dad beat dad. Mm-hmm. They won't use all the examples of black men stepping up to the plate and taking care of their kids, right? Mm-hmm. It's the same thing here. Yeah. Like, all the positive movements and all the good things we've done,
right?
It's disintegrated.
Yeah.
Why? Because Jesse's come out here.
So let me ask you this. I think personally...
By the way, he paid with a check.
Yeah.
In 2019. Bro, what you want?
Yeah.
Bro, what you doing?
Right.
You use cash for these type of situations. You don't even know he should never done this. He was not prepared, just so we're all on the same page.
I think it hurt. Honestly, I think it hurt the movement for the black community worse than it did for the LGBTQ community, personally. That's my personal opinion.
Here's why.
And no. Let me tell you this, too. I don't think... And maybe I'm not paying enough attention. And if I'm not... I'll take responsibility for that, and my I guess my judgment and opinion that I'm about to voice is inaccurate. But it seems that the people in that community aren't taking in, I guess, fully own it, because it's like in our community, I feel like we're owning it. We're like, okay, yeah, he made this mistake. We're gonna be fair about it and say he did wrong. He should face the consequences. I just haven't seen that in the other.
Here's part of the reason.
So, go ahead.
As black men, as straight black men, we are more intertwined with the black community than we are with the LGBT community. Like, I have friends that are lesbians or homosexuals, right? Mm-hmm. But like, I don't follow their websites. I'm not in tune with what they doing on I don't know what their posts are. Like, I follow a lot of pro-black pages, so a lot of the posts I get and see are obviously going to be more towards us, right?
Yeah.
So it could be affecting that community just as much, and I'm not gonna say, I won't be the one to say it's not affecting that community just as much, because you set back everybody. So now our commander-in-chief, Mr. 45 himself, has already came out with a statement against this and about how it tried to paint MAGA in a bad light. We don't have to paint MAGA in a bad light. First of all, MAGA's already in a bad light, sir. Make America great again. At what point in time was America ever great for black people? Another tangent for another day.
Yeah.
So yes, you set us back, because now they're going to use this as the example of why some of these hate crimes are exaggerated, why some of the things that happen to us aren't really real. Dog, no, it's real.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why black folks are so hurt, right? And part of it is, I think, even if the gay community isn't, that's not the right way to say that, if the LGBTQ community isn't as in tune with it, is because I think a lot of what he tried to push was more the hate crime of him being a black man, and he tried to hang him, right?
Yeah. Understood. Yeah.
But I'm not saying that, again, I don't know, because I'm not as in tune with their pages and what they're posting, right?
When you say what you said as far as the black community see and this kind of stuff happening a lot, for me that statement alone just made it a whole lot deeper, because I'm thinking about the Oscar Grants, the Trayvon Martins, and the people that it's like the people that
you played on what's been a fire topic for 10 years in this country. Like, black men dying ain't no joke.
Yeah.
Like, that's why, bro, I'm done with homie. Like, unless something comes out that shows me something different, I'm good.
Yeah.
And do what you do, bro, to get your bread, but you've made light of a situation I don't find funny at all.
And it's like I was telling Eric, it's like,
go deeper to you used a noose. Go to the history of what a noose in this country means to a black man.
Right.
Come on, bro. Come on. And you paid with a check also. You paid with it. You suck it.
And it's like I was telling Eric, it's like it was tough. It's like, you don't want something like this to happen, but then you don't want it to be, you know what I mean? It's like, which is worse, Like,
no, it's not which is worse.
Yeah,
that's how he lied.
Yeah.
Like,
but it's like, at the same time, you don't want something like this to happen.
But it happens every day.
Yeah, it does. But it's like, but then you don't want somebody else lying.
Maybe not with bleach and Subway at 2:00 in the morning in Chicago, but like, black men are discriminated against every day.
Right.
We're victims of hate crimes. Have you ever been called the N-word to your face? I have. Mm-hmm. Right. By white people in the Valentine. Mm-hmm. Literally, I was walking from Enterprise back in the day. and I was leaving work, and we were walking to the bar down the street to have some drinks after work. It was at the end of the shopping center we were in, and this white girl was like, "Look, mommy, it's 3 niggers." Oh. And it got worse when we got in the bar. This white lady walked up to us, told us our kind should get up and let her sit down. I'm not making this up. And this was 2000 and late 2012 or either early 2013, because I became an assistant at Monroe in February of 2013. I want to say it was January of 2013. Like, yeah, this still happens today.
Yeah.
Right? I've been pulled over for a random reason. I was trailing the car too close in front of me. Like, I've had the cops pull a pistol on me in my yard. So, yeah, the thing with Jesse is, bro, like, why? Cool, you wanted to get your bread, but did you have to push the whole movement of black people to the back and the LGBTQ community also?
Yeah.
That's selfish.
Yeah.
So to your point of, I don't know which is worse.
It's
definitely worse than he lied.
And then they're saying, speculation is that because he wasn't making enough money when he's.
Bro, how you not making? You're making like $500K or something. You ain't making enough money.
He's making at least $100,000, and that's enough money to
Bruh,
being on
good.
cable television.
You making more than me.
Yeah.
Like, does he ever come back from this if it's true?
Well, we're in the age of cancel culture, and I said it, and I'll say it again. We got to cancel him altogether, and this is
black
it.
folks ain't gonna support him. Black folks are livid.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And you know something else our race is doing though that annoys me? Well, you know, we can get Jesse in jail for for filing fake charges. What about all the white people that call in to make fake charges on black people? Bruh, yeah, we should get the white folks to make fake charges on black people. Jesse still gotta go to jail for lying.
Right, exactly.
They say the same thing with R. Kelly.
It's almost like this is our problem. You know what I mean? It's almost like this is
Bro, we always do that. We try to exonerate or let our people go free, or what about these people over here too? That don't change the fact this person still gotta go to jail for stupid.
Right.
Well, R. Kelly, I saw somebody post, well, what about Harvey Weinstein? I don't care about Harvey, gotta go to jail too because Harvey's sick.
Yeah.
But R. Kelly needs to go ahead and lay it down.
Yeah.
Chicago got a lot of stuff going.
Because you know what would be good about that because I say that speaks well of us if we can say, you know what, yes, Jesse did wrong. And he's got to pay the consequences.
Jesse did wrong.
But I'm saying as a people though, it helps us because it's not like we're showing favoritism.
But we are.
Yes, I'm saying when we try to say, okay,
deeper.
we're getting Jesse, but what about them over there?
It goes deeper.
It does. But let me go ahead and wrap this up really quick. That's our trending topic brought to you by What's Trending. That was a really good one, actually. Ron picked that one. Follow them on Twitter. I'm pretty sure we'll somehow touch back on this in the later topics. Again, What's Trending, check them out. Always something good on there and always something worth talking about. We're going to get into our next topic, HBCUs, historically black colleges and university.
Fight your pride. Let's go to Elizabeth City State University.
And even though I only did a year there and I transferred out and went to UNC Greensboro, most people call PWI.
It is a PWI.
It is, but anyway, I still support. After getting over myself, I support the Vikings and up there ECSU. So hashtag Viking Pride.
Well, I should probably get this on. I'm on live. I forgot I was live. So
man, so you're an HBCU alum.
I am. Just actually made it. Just paid my.
Yeah, congratulations on that too, man.
I'm
happy for you. I'm proud of you too, man. It's great to see that kind of stuff, man.
Well, here's the thing. I literally hate the divide between HBCUs and PWIs. Like, I feel like the thing.
Thank you. Somebody said it.
I feel like the thing for a disenfranchised culture, which I feel African American culture is in this community or in this country, excuse me. We should just be celebrating the fact that we're going to college and getting a degree anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Now, would I prefer that people went to HBCUs? Of course.
Mm-hmm.
You were my mentee, and I pushed you to go to HBCU.
Mm-hmm.
Do I believe HBCUs?
Even though I left, I appreciate that.
Do I believe HBCUs are going to give you some things that a PWI doesn't? Yeah, I do. Like,
yes.
I feel like the culture at a HBCU is specifically tailored to what you got going on in your life, right? Instead of there having to be a group or a club, or this hall over here is where we meet, or this part of the campus. Like, there's no part of the campus for the black people at HBCU. The campus is ours.
Yeah.
Go deeper. Like, I'm not just an HBCU graduate myself. I'm a third generation HBCU attendee. My dad didn't graduate from Winston. But my grandparents, my grandma went to Winston-Salem State when it was Teachers College. My grandfather went to Smith. My grandma's brother went to Hampton. The other one went to Livingstone. My dad's brother went to Elizabeth City. My dad went to Winston-Salem. My brother went to Winston-Salem. My mom is the only person in my family I can really think of, besides my first cousin, who's like my older brother, that went to a PWI. My mom's the main reason I did not even consider a PWI, and she went to UNCG.
Yeah. Oh gosh, she's like right after.
Right when it became a boy and girl school.
Yeah.
She said it was ridiculous, but her main reason was she said I never really felt accepted at my school. Now I'm sure it's different now.
Yeah. I can totally understand
But she said
that.
not only that.
Yeah.
She said, how often do you see me go back and support my school? I just don't feel any connection to my school. And some PWI graduates like you, and they feel this great connection. But a lot of PWI graduates have no connection to their institution once they leave. And so that's one of the things, like the history of a school that 60 years ago, could you have went to your school if you wanted to? Because I could have went to mine. When our grandparents chose to go to college, could they go to your school? That's important to me. Because the history, like what's coming out now, the history of a lot of these schools, you go back 30 years, it ain't so good. We got blackface in the yearbook. I was on a page the other day that was showing the history of Illinois University, where every one of their fraternities on campus in the 20s and 30s had to belong to the KKK. Now, how am I supposed to support that?
Yeah.
But I got a degree from this school. How I'm supposed to feel good about that?
Yeah.
I'm supposed to feel good about my degree from KKK land? I don't.
Yeah.
And this head got hot. Sorry. there are issues with our historically black colleges and universities that I can understand why people don't send their children there. Just so we're all on the same page. We at times aren't as organized as we should be, right? We at times have money turned funny, but the white schools have those same issues.
Yeah.
We just kind of brush over them because we want to. Right.
You know, it's funny you say that. You see a lot of time with a lot of these big schools, especially like their athletic programs, or or all these not whether it's money or academics, and what they're doing to, I guess like almost like rigging the game to just so that they can keep whatever numbers or records they have or things like that. So yeah, definitely.
I had a heated debate at a Christmas party with a Spartan.
A UNCG Spartan?
She graduated last year.
Oh gosh.
And she's a teacher.
Do I know this Spartan?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Michaela?
No.
You would know if you ever came to my Bible study class. You come most Wednesdays. But you ain't been to class. But that's a whole other story.
Oh man.
Yeah, I called y'all on your own podcast. That happens.
All good.
But she was just like, well, UNCG is 40% blah, 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 blah. I'm like, that's great. I'm good. I'm glad y'all 40% black. It still ain't the same, baby.
Yeah.
And I'll give you a perfect example. So I was up in Greensboro for work, and I went to A&T and got Kara, and I got one of the twins in Sydney from UNCG. This was last year. We went to lunch.
Oh, that's right. Kara's at A&T.
Yeah, so I rolled through.
Yeah.
So I got my music. It's like March, April. I got my music playing. I'm riding. My music blast. You know how I ride.
Yeah.
Nobody on A&T's campus turned their head. It was just natural to them. Man, I got on UNCG's campus. I got more stairs. I'm like, let me cut my music down for the police pull me over. I'm not comfortable over here anymore. It feels more natural.
Wrong side of town, buddy.
Right. Being on an HBCU campus, I've never pulled on one where it just doesn't feel natural to me. I feel, and that's the thing. The thing that people don't get about HBCUs is they think it's just about this. Oh, it's about the parties and the Greek life and the band. It's just a big party. Nah, it's not that. It is, but it's like being at a black family reunion your whole 4 years. You find, and I had this argument, or I had this conversation. I was one of my sorors, one of the Zetas from Miles, I think, down in Georgia, Alabama, wherever Miles is. She made a post about how people think that HBCUs. I want to go. The argument you always get. I want to go somewhere where it's diverse. Well, first off, that would be insinuating that black people aren't diverse as a culture, but we are. So there's all kind of black people in life, and there's all kinds of HBCUs.
Yeah.
Like you got your gamers, you got your skateboarders, you got your athletes, you got your jocks, you got your nerds, you got your chess players. Not that Elizabeth City. Elizabeth City only had a population of 2,000 people. Imagine how many different subsets of people you got at A&T or Winston, right? Or Central, which are all bigger than us, unfortunately, but we coming for them. But not only that, most state-supported HBCUs or 30% Caucasian now, or 30% Caucasian and Asian. So when you're in class, because you have to learn how to assimilate to other races. My class is not all black, you know that, right? Like, there are white people sitting in the classroom with me. They're in the classroom, they talk, they don't sit there quietly. You learn how to assimilate, right? And then the first thing a HBCU teaches you, and they always teach you that you have to learn how to assimilate to the real world. So you're taught how you should dress for an interview. You're taught how to speak in an interview. You go over your resume. These are things I'm not sure you're getting this one-on-one attention at a PWI, right? And so these are part of the reason I'm an advocate for an HBCU. Like, now, again, if you couldn't get, so we're in the South where HBCUs are huge. Right. Imagine if you lived in Nebraska and you black, because I think it's black folks in Nebraska, right?
Are there any HBCUs?
Nah, that's my point. So now I'm supposed to send my child to North Carolina to go to school? I'm going to send my child to Louisiana or Texas? Like, think about how much that's going to cost. Out-of-state tuition, how you going to get there. So that's the difference. It's easier for us in the South to look at it like, bro, why don't you go to HBCU? But the South's only 1/4 of the state. Like, it's a whole other part, whole other state thing going on.
Right.
So in other states, I get it. In North Carolina, it's your personal choice. Everybody, you gotta go to what works for you.
Don't we have the largest count of HBCUs anyway?
Even states, especially states support HBCUs.
There's not a lot of things I'm proud of here in North Carolina, but that's one of the things I am.
North Carolina has a lot of things.
I'm just saying that's one of the few things I'm proud of about this state. So I don't think HBCUs get enough love, though.
We don't. We have this bad reputation.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, unfortunately, bad reputations from other black people that didn't go there. And the problem with that is, like, affirmative action is off the books. In case we didn't know that, it's been off the books for about 5 years now. These white schools ain't gonna let you in no more. So if you get rid of these HBCUs, the reason people love HBCUs so much, when they didn't have a chance to go to Chapel Hill or UNCG or UNCC, that HBCU saved their life. And people literally mean that.
I agree.
HBCUs take people and turn around and make them productive citizens. I got out of high school at 2.1, not myself. But I got out of high school at 2.1. I graduated my HBCU at 3.7. Not because the classes are easier, because they drilled into me that I was going to be a better student. Like, I had professors actually come to my dorm room and they asked me what I had going on, or call me because they ain't been to school or ain't been to their class in a week. That one-on-one attention to make sure they're trying to help you graduate and they know your name was extremely important to me. Now, by the way, I'm not sure if HBCUs like that because my HBCU was smaller.
I experienced that at East City.
Yeah, at East City it's a little different, but dog, I'm sure A&T's different because A&T's got 8,000, 9,000, 10,000. I don't know. A lot of people go to that school, a lot of them. So you look at it, if our top athletes started going to HBCUs, what difference would that make to us? But it's not even top athletes. I had this argument with my cousin because he was the head coach at Rocky River and Waddell before that. We were arguing about athletes going to smaller white schools. Not even like a UNCG, but let's say a Greensboro College, right? Or going to a Catawba, or going to Morris Hill, somewhere like that. Like, if you can get a scholarship there, I'm sure you could have got one to go to play at Central or Fayetteville State or Elizabeth City or Livingstone, but you didn't even consider it, right? Like, now, if you're Zion Williamson, I get it. You went to Duke that has the best facilities and you get national attention. I understand that. But if you're not a top tier athlete, why not go to HBCU and play ball? Why go? Because I can only imagine, like, UNCG is a big school, or UNCC is a big school. So I'm sure there's enough of a black population to make it entertaining and make your college life a little better. Dog, could you imagine going to Greensboro College? How many black people go to school there? It's like probably 7.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. How fun is that in real life?
Yeah.
And then I wonder, why did you not consider HBCU? And I always hear ignorant reasons a lot of times. Man, I went to a HBCU, but what I thought, I'd probably party too much and flunked out. Cause that's what we do. We just. I
will go to say this. Shout out to my boy Ty, aka Flash, who I did radio with at East City. Now managing Luke Nasty, one of the popping artists.
Oh, the guy out of Greensboro.
Yeah. He's got his own show on radio. The homie Justin Waddell. He's doing a lot of great work for the federal government. Like, works for one of the federal government contractors up in DC. So, big time, East City grad as well. So yeah, it's a lot.
You're talking about they came out of Elizabeth City and they actually got good jobs?
No.
Who knew you could come out of HBCU and actually not be working in a
There's a lot of somewhere. At least East City, since again, I've been there and I got a lot of good friends that went to the school. Like a lot of people that have come out of, and not just that school, but a lot of schools, a lot of HBCUs come out rocking and killing it.
Because I used to get the
Stephen A.
Yeah. Well, you get the argument that
Yeah.
you can't go to HBCU and come out and be successful in corporate America.
Mm-hmm.
Back in my management days, all of my staff went to PWIs but me.
Mm-hmm.
But guess who their boss was? Like, this is my branch.
Mm-hmm.
All the PWI people work for me.
Mm-hmm.
So the funny thing is, I don't understand how I couldn't manage something going to a small HBCU.
Yeah.
But yet here I am. It goes back to things about hard work. Like, what is instilled in you is to work hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we already know it's drilled into you. It's not going to be easy, and you already against the 8 ball, right?
Yeah.
Coming out. That's what Elizabeth City teaches you.
Yeah.
You know these things coming out, so you're prepared for it. Where I feel like a lot of times you get lost in the wash at Chapel Hill.
It's possible.
It's
yeah.
a 400-person class.
Yeah.
Who's really drilling it into you and putting that effort into?
It's truly a competition.
Yeah.
It's truly a competition.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But that takes me to the next thing. We talk about the black vote. One of the, we definitely need to put some people in office to, that will.
Well, it's funny, the black.
When it comes to education, help with the funding and helping create more opportunities for HBCUs and students in HBCUs from a again.
We have to step back from anything you're trying to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
I truly believe deep down we owe it to our ancestors to vote, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how selfish of a generation are we, dog, that we don't vote? Like, people literally got chewed up by dogs and shot with water hoses going 40 miles an hour and hung and killed and houses burned down for you to have the right to go vote.
Right.
But I ain't voting because I don't really think voting matters no way, so, I'm too cool to vote, but I want to complain about everything going on around me. Okay, well, you're an idiot.
Right.
You're stupid.
Right.
You don't use the tools given to you to try to change the world you in. Now, if you were to ask me, do I believe our vote counts in the presidential election? I don't, because I don't believe the Electoral College votes the way they're supposed to. But in every other election, your vote is counted.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we vote as a people? One, it's a thing called cognitive dissonance that you believe the things happening to your ancestors that happened to their ancestors are going to continue to happen to you, and it gets drilled into you that you just feel like my vote don't matter.
Right.
Nothing matters. Nobody cares about the black vote, the black community anyway. We complained so much about Obama and what he didn't do for black people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he did more for the gay people. He did more for immigration, for the immigrants than he did for us. We weren't organized. Part of the reason the black vote is not strong because we ain't organized as a race. What do we want?
Mm-hmm.
We have these somewhat helter-skelter boycotts and stuff for 5 days or 2 weeks, and what we doing, dog?
Yeah.
And then we wonder why our votes or people don't take us serious. Back to Jesse, little retarded self, a few minutes ago. That's why people don't take us serious, right?
Yeah.
So then we don't even use our vote. We want to complain, right? Now, I'm not saying we didn't vote with Cheeto Head in office now, because the records show we did vote. Other people didn't vote.
Right.
But did we vote in the midterm election? Do we vote? More importantly, do you vote in your local election? Like you said, the things that affect you in the state and local are the things we don't even pay attention to. We just go in there. You walk up. Here's what happens. You walk up to the election booth. They give you the Democratic ticket. Here, this is who the Democrats are running for position.
Yeah.
Only the debate you to pay attention to is the presidential one. Well, I know who I want to vote here. The rest of these.
Boop, 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 boop. Yeah.
Okay, I'm done. Dog, what you just vote for?
Yeah.
We don't know. We don't be reading the bonds we vote for.
Yeah.
We be voting for bonds that are going to gentrify our neighborhoods. We don't even realize it.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a $1.5 million bond for urban renewal and upgrade of inner city neighborhoods. You think that's for us? Have you looked at the west side of Charlotte lately? Mm-hmm. How about South End? Where all the black folks go? Where the black folks stay on Planting? That's not what that's for. We voted for it because we thought, well, they was going to fix the sidewalks. No, fool. They was going to fix the neighborhood and put you out.
So we got another question.
Bet.
Or we got a viewer question. Who of all the candidates that have the connection went out. Okay, who of all the candidates that have announced their presidential bid do you think would be the best choice?
For the Democratic Party?
In general.
Well,
it's yeah.
So maybe Cory Booker. I really have to see what he's running on. Camilla, listen, Miss Harris from California.
No.
Like she's got to answer a lot of what she did as a DA.
Yeah.
And you lied about smoking weed, listening to Tupac, and I smoked weed, listening to Tupac and Snoop Dogg. Did you? Because records show you went to school in '86. So when was that happening in your college years?
What about Bernie?
I don't like Bernie. I feel like he's divisive. I thought Bernie was divisive 4 years ago, and that's why I'm dealing with Trump now.
Mm-hmm.
Bernie did nothing. Now, did Bernie get screwed out of the race in 2 years ago, 3 years ago? Probably.
Almost 3 years ago, yeah.
But did he do anything to try to unite the party? No. No, he was angry. So what happened? If I can't win, we ain't winning. And now we're dealing with Cheeto Head. Have you seen the things that your president is doing lately? Not my president, your president. Have you seen the
Not my president.
Man, have you seen what 45 got going on? Half that's because Bernie did nothing to try to unite the party.
Yeah.
And as much as I think he has great ideas, I don't know if they're ever going to carry. Like here's the thing that Barack did that we don't realize Barack did. Barack carried a lot of the moderate white people who didn't know where to go with their vote.
Yeah.
I don't know if I vote Republican sometimes, I vote Democratic sometimes.
So let me ask you this.
People are registered independent.
Let me ask you this question because Kamala Harris and Cory Booker both went on the Breakfast Club, and one of the things that they were both hit with, and is this ever existing pressure from our community is, what are you going to do for us?
So back to what we just said. What do you mean? What do we want? What you gonna do for us? What do you want?
Yeah.
Because that was the thing with Barack. Barack can do enough for black people.
Yeah.
I didn't know Barack was the president of the NAACP because I swear to Lord that was the president of the United States of America.
Right.
And that's a different ball game.
Yeah.
Like the reason that our ancestors got the things they got accomplished for black people, look how organized they were. And show me where we've been not organized in the last 30 years. And if you know me better than most people, you know how pro-black I am. But here's what we do: this is our thing right now in our generation. La 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 la. Oh, somebody got shot. Something happened. Here we go. Let's start just making a bunch of social media posts about why we mad. I'm mad. I'm mad. I'm mad. What you do in your off time to try to help the black people? How organized are you? What city council meeting did you go to? Have you wrote your local senator or your House representative? No, you have not. This is why I know that we're not organized. We're going to boycott Target. Why are we boycotting Target exactly? We don't even know who we should be boycotting. We should probably boycott some of these corporations that help privatize prisons and get a lot of their stuff from them. We want to boycott something. But we're not organized. So then we want to ask people that are running for office, what do you plan on doing for black people? I already know what y'all want. What are they supposed to say? And also, because they black, they're just supposed to automatically want to help us all the way. I mean, that's a great thought that a black person wants to help a black person. But if a black person came out and their whole agenda was, I'm going to help African Americans, they going to win the presidency? Be real with yourself.
No.
We're not being realistic as a people.
And I think about it too, because it's like, I feel like with some people, or some people just ignore everything else, because what it ends up looking like is, what are you going to do for us?
Right.
And then not only what are you going to do for us, but how are you going to help? What is it? It's almost like, forget everybody else's interests, put our interests ahead of everybody else, and then because you know what I mean. It's like we want to win,
right?
But it's like we gotta put everybody else's interests on the back table.
Here's what happened. I swear to God, I think we're waiting for Moses to come help the black community, right? When Barack won in 2008, like I grew up in the hood, right? So my voting booth is still on Bakersford, and it definitely was at that time. So, like all the dope boys I know are at the polls, right? I'm like, I didn't know you understood politics, but you out here, fuck, this is amazing.
Right.
Black people thought that because Barack Obama was going to win, we have arrived.
Yeah.
Barack Obama's not Moses, people. Neither is Kamala Harris or Cory Booker.
Yeah.
That is not who they are.
Yeah.
First of all, you got to match the effort to get the things you want. But I don't feel like we did anything to really push anything towards Barack for him to help us. We just felt like he got elected and ta-da!
Yeah.
We are here. We have arrived. There's a black man in office. He's going to fix all of our problems. No, you got to fix your own problems in your life.
Yeah.
I don't care. I literally do not care who the president is.
Yeah.
You got to fix your own life. And so a lot of the issues we face as a culture, not what are they going to do for us, what are we going to do for ourselves? Like, what are we doing to make steps to change things that they can lock onto and make national agendas and push things? Or your governor, or your senator, or your representative can lock onto. But we don't really have a lot of grassroots efforts half the time.
Yeah.
Right? And then we just be mad. We just angry. Because the world hates us and everybody against us. Blah. Okay, that's definitely what it is. Like that, I had this argument. There was a post I made on Instagram of Nancy, whatever, Pelosi, I don't know if
Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi.
Which is the little clap thing at Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And it said, credit her for being the first sarcastic clap. And so one of the signals comes on there, he's like, you know, black folks have been doing the sarcastic clap for years. Once again, taking all the credit from black people. Bro, we really what we want. We want to go down in the annals of history saying we were the ones who created the sarcastic clap. I told him, I said, bro, we have so many things we've accomplished and we do well as a culture that we don't have to reach. But when we start reaching for that petty stuff, that's when people start discrediting us, right? Jesse Smollett. When you got to make up something that didn't happen to try to get your point across, you discredit everything else that we're doing. And we do that all the time as a race. Well, look at this. We be crying about stuff that don't even make sense.
Right.
And
so,
then it discredits all of our movements. And it certainly discredits our ancestors. It pays no homage to them
so
whatsoever.
I'm thinking about this now because we talk about Obama, right?
Boy, he was fly last night too. That brother came in the game.
Oh yeah, 44 on the sleeve with the bomber. I'm trying to find me a dope bomber jacket for real. So, he was one of the things, with some people, because he didn't do enough, and now people are questioning his blackness.
What else did they want him to do? So that's the question I always ask. He didn't do enough. What did you want?
But I'm saying that whole thing of questioning his, now he's not black enough because he got up there. We had him in there for 8 years, and he didn't do what we needed or everything we needed him to do to help us out as a people.
Oh, okay.
You see where I'm going?
That's unique. You see how quiet I got? Oh, okay. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
And it's that way of a lot of situations. Do we have situations where people aren't black enough or they're not down for the struggle or the cause enough? Sure. Some people don't, but everything you gotta do is step back from it, right? Like, y'all say Barack ain't doing enough for black people. Y'all might want to check what that man did in Chicago before he became became president. But we say the same thing about anybody that's not down for the cause. They're not black enough. How were they raised, man? Maybe they don't even understand the cause.
Right.
We look at Dak Prescott because he doesn't believe in kneeling during the flag. Like, Dak was raised somewhat white. And maybe that aha moment ain't hit him where he realized he black yet. Right? So I hate when we say something like that. Or we get they don't talk black enough. They talk like a white person. What does that mean? They talk proper? Right? Not what I will tell you people, if you seriously want to do work in the black community, you have to learn to assimilate. Just like you want not even say a black person, just like you want a disenfranchised person with lesser education to be able to assimilate, to be able to come to a boardroom or an interview, we tell them they have to assimilate to be able to interview, right? You got to teach them how to walk into an interview and dress and talk. How you plan on reaching them in the street if you can't talk like them? Like, you come out there talking all proper, bro, they ain't gonna listen to nothing you got to say. They gonna look at you real funny.
Yeah.
I do not trust you whatsoever. Or you talk down to them. They feel like you're talking down to them.
Yeah.
So, to Barack and he's not black enough. Why? Because he didn't, I don't know. He spoke out on Trayvon Martin.
Yeah.
Right? Like, people, and then people don't understand the jurisdiction or the laws we live by. Oh, he couldn't go down there and convict George Zimmerman himself.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that power. People believe that he has that power to, I don't know what people think, right? And are there things that I don't like that Barack did? I don't like his immigration policy. I tend to actually lean more towards 45. I don't believe in building a wall. I think that's stupid, actually. But I do believe that we have to have tighter immigration policies. But, I mean, what did y'all want him to do for black people, right? Like, what is that? That's the question. When people say that, what did you want? He's not black enough. Why?
Right.
Like, what about that man says he's not black to you?
Yeah.
His black wife, his black children. He sings Al Green. He sings Amazing Grace at funerals. He plays back. Like, what about him is not black? He walks and talks like a black man. He looks like a black man. What did we want from him? And I can't get my mind around it. It's the same thing when the chief of police here in Charlotte. Well, he's not black enough. He didn't do it.
Really?
Yeah. When his officer shot the guy.
Was it Keith Lamont Scott?
Yeah. That man got a job. Like, first of all, we want people to lose their job. We ain't want to lose our job. That man got a job. He got to follow protocols. He can't just fire the officer. That's not how any of this works.
Yeah.
And we want people to do stuff we ain't willing to do, right? You want Barack to put his job on the line or his career on the line. You wouldn't lose your job for the black race, for the cause?
Yeah.
We not.
Man, gosh, that takes me back to a previous episode. It was talking about, I think it was like protesting on the job or something that was being talked about. And we were talking about how we look at Colin Kaepernick and him taking the knee, sacrificing everything he had in the NFL, and then just thinking back, okay, what would we go to that extent on a regular job? You know what I mean?
No.
Depending upon the situation.
No, we wouldn't. We are disingenuous, and that's at best.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about millennials earlier. Because we've been handed everything, we don't understand the struggle, or we don't appreciate maybe what our ancestors really had to go through for us to get the stuff we got, dog.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're disingenuous to our cause. We want these things, but we ain't really willing to give up what our ancestors gave up. Are you willing to die for what you say you want? Probably not.
Right.
You want to lose your job?
Mm-hmm.
Probably not. You won't even speak out about it on social media. Stop it. You want to lose your house and have it burned down?
Mm-hmm.
Probably not. So what do you want him to do? But you want Barack to lose the whole election.
Right.
Because Cory Booker or Kamala Harris come out and say their whole focus of their campaign is to uplift the black community. They are going to lose the election.
But see, my issue with them,
I mean,
I don't feel
haven't
like
studied them enough to know.
I don't feel like they're legit. When
Kamala Harris, if you look now, I have studied Kamala Harris's past.
Yeah.
And that would tell me that she.
But
really
now,
cares about
it's like it's on for me. It feels a bit disingenuous because it's like,
they're doing what Hillary did, man.
yeah,
Which I didn't
and that doesn't fly with me.
Which I didn't appreciate.
Yeah.
They're leaning on the, hey, I'm black, so
Right.
please vote for me because I'm black. Nah, I'm
Right.
not. I ain't voting for Bernie. I don't know who I'm voting for.
Mm-hmm.
The Democrats probably should come up with a good candidate. Because here's the thing. If we don't come up with a good candidate, 45 will win again. Because his side is entrenched in this. They dead serious.
Oh yeah, they stat.
They retarded also. But they dead serious. I mean, they are so asinine in a lot of their thoughts. She's like, bro, what are you even talking
So how do you feel about the new girl, the freshman senator, Paul? You probably know her name, Alex. You know what I'm talking about? She came.
I have not studied her yet.
She came out with the new Green Deal, but she's a fiery little something.
You're not listening to me say no.
Okay, I'm just saying, bro. Like
So I need to go look into her. Is that what you're telling me?
You gotta look into her.
Okay.
We got a Kennedy in office, a senator.
We do.
Edward Kennedy III, I believe is his name. I'm interested to see what happens with him in his political career. I'll say that much. Him, of course, being a Kennedy. So, and when has there? I don't think there's been a Kennedy in office that has not, at least on the federal level, that has not ran for president.
Right. The Democrats made the mistake, in my personal opinion, last year, of assuming that they were going to get the votes they get. They to the point of the black vote, they assumed it, and that was a mistake. The problem, again, I say with African Americans or the black voters, we want to call it. I'm not sure what we want a lot of times. I'm not sure we know what we want a lot of times. I'm not even sure who we would consider our cultural leaders to push us in the right direction. You got the overly, like, here's the thing, right? So I'm pro-black, but I'm not anti-white. But then you got your overly woke crowd who's anti-everything. They anti-4th of July, they anti-Easter Bunny, they anti-breathing, they anti-working out, they anti-good morning, they just anti. What you mean good morning? Let me tell you about the morning good. Wait, you know what?
Yeah.
7:30, why are you so angry?
Yeah.
I wouldn't eat that swine, brother, if I was you. Jesus, I can't deal with them.
Yeah.
And we all have that. My brother's that person. If we're gonna be honest. That person.
would you go to say, because I do feel like to an extent like we're waiting on the next Martin.
We're waiting on Barack Obama to
I'm
come
saying,
out the woodwork.
Yeah, like, whether it be the next Barack, the next Martin Luther King, the next somebody, you know what I mean, that person that's going to, I guess, take us the rest of the way. That's honestly what I feel like, our people are kind of waiting on.
We at times tend to be a reactionary race, and I don't know why. And to the point of what we were supposed to be discussing, the black vote and being black enough, we're reactionary to the point where if somebody doesn't agree with us or they're not reacting the same way that we react, well, you ain't down for the cause, right? Or if somebody's not doing what we think they should be doing at the time, well, you're not getting my vote. We're not really studying what they can do to impact us.
Yeah.
And that's a mistake. And part of the divide of the African American culture is the the difference the difference in income level is the best way I can put it.
Mm-hmm.
Your poor or lower class black ain't got a lot in common with your upper class black.
Mm-hmm.
There's a divide in education level, the way we talk.
Mm-hmm.
They look at you as a sellout. They think you stuck up. They think you whack. The poor, the rich person ain't really got a lot in common. If you grew up in Valentine your whole life as a black person, I doubt you really gonna understand a lot of stuff I went through as a black man from the Ford Road. So you had these issues.
Yeah.
So how do we fix these divides?
You know, I think too. Feel free to disagree. I think really when we win, I think really everybody wins. Because at the end of the day, like, someone was talking about, I'm not even going to bring this up because it'll probably put you on another topic. We'll talk about this one off the record. But, as far as like, things like equal employment opportunity, that kind of stuff like that was something that came out of, I believe was the civil rights struggle. But not only was it a win for us, it was a win for everybody else. You see where I'm going? So when we win, I feel like everybody else wins as well.
So black folks love to complain about Hispanics being here. Well, all the jobs for the black man were taken by the Hispanics. Right, because we definitely want to cut grass. That's what we were signed up for.
Yeah.
The reason we have illegal immigrants in this country, Donald Trump, is because nobody would do the job that these people are doing.
Yeah.
No American thought that they wanted to do that job.
Mm-hmm.
That includes the black people,
Mm-hmm.
by the way. So a lot of times the employment gaps we face in our community is because we don't want to do that job. We talked about working in fast food earlier. And we can all agree that's not going to pay your bills. But I walk in, like what I do for a living, I walk in restaurants every day that I hire a dog.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's probably not going to pay your bills. You're
Yeah.
probably going to have to get a second, maybe a third job.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like some income is better than no income.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But we might get cooler with no income and complaining about, I can't find no job. You can't find no job. Or you can't find the job you want.
Mm-hmm.
Because those are two different things,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. True.
And so then that goes into the bigger divide of the income gap in our culture, the income gap in America, and then you become disenfranchised and you get upset. And so then the things that I may be looking at as a black man, or you may be looking at as a black man, or the CEO who's a black man, and the broke brother on Betty's floor, we all looking at different things.
Right.
So then we say, well, Barack's not black enough, or this person's not black enough. What does that even mean? Barack didn't do anything for black people. What did we want him to do?
Mm-hmm.
I would love for somebody that's on one of our lives to kind of tell me what we wanted exactly. But I don't know.
Well, that was a good discussion. It's probably the longest recording to date. Well, since episode 1. Nah, it's all good. Appreciate you coming on. It's always great talking to you. It's always something to take away. So I knew you was gonna have something good to say. That's why I wanted to have you on.
Anytime, brother. Anytime. I'll come back.
So that was the SANE Show, episode 17. Again with the homie Ron. Again, the SANE Show will be hosting a live recording at Coco and the director in Uptown Charlotte. Dates and other information will be coming soon, so hold tight and be on the lookout for that. Follow us on Instagram at SANE_show, SANE_show, and you can find us on Twitter, again, SANE_show, Facebook, The SANE Show, and then you can catch us to catch the recordings on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, iTunes, Overcast, Love.f, Pocket Cast, Google Play Music, TuneIn, Stitcher Podcast, and many other streaming platforms. So be sure to definitely give us a listen.
They can find you everywhere because you big time. You are big time like that.
So with that being said, thanks for listening and thanks for participating. And be sure to check out episode 18. We're out.